Hi everyone. So today is going to be doing research for historical wargamers, and I mentioned doing this video on a stream recently, and Chris, who runs the channel called Nangwai, he does really good World War One hex-based war games. And he has a stream, a Great War stream every Saturday, and on the most recent one, as of filming, he um, suggested that I do this, so I thought, well, I probably should. So this is going to be about doing, more in-depth research if you want to do that for your wargaming. Trying to help people to, you know, be able to do better than just picking up like whatever's the top 10 book on Amazon or whatever, something like that, because sometimes those books can be good. A lot of times not so good. And what I'm going to talk about is like how to read like the academic literature, and then also how to access like a lot of primary sources. So first, I'm going to talk about how to read large amounts of books, especially history books. So the first thing is to read the introduction. Sometimes it's all you have to read. You don't have to read the whole thing cover to cover. And it's also about how to kind of like budget your time. So, you know, you might not want, you might read the introduction of a book and decide that it's not really what you're looking for. Um, and then if you decide it is, then you keep reading, and then, you find stuff in the footnotes or the endnotes that'll take you to something else. And then you go to those, whatever they cite, and look at that stuff. And then other than the introduction, I think a good rule of thumb is to check the bibliography and the citations, again, the footnotes or the endnotes, because that'll tell you what actual sources they're using. Because some books claim that they're doing can claim that they're doing like a big kind of reinterpretation or something, but they don't really bring up a lot of new evidence. It's just kind of rehashing secondary sources. Now, other books can also synthesize secondary literature, but they're going to be more forward with saying, I'm taking all the research of usually my colleagues and I'm presenting it in a way that's more digestible and kind of maybe more of a narrative or something like that. Um, and this is kind of what you have to do if you do graduate examinations. You have to read like 60 books or something like that, a lot. So you can't really read all of them cover to cover. So you learn to read the introduction, maybe read like key chapters, that are more, might be one or two might be more important than the others, something like that. And then read the conclusion, because then they're going to summarize again everything they explained and, kind of their findings. And, all these history books, ideally it's presenting the evidence and then giving their interpretation of the evidence. So that's how to read a lot of stuff quickly. That's an important skill, and it takes time to learn. It's not easy to do this, especially because not all historians are equally good writers. And then a lot of times there's just no way to make certain topics into like a really gripping narrative. I see a lot of reviews of like kind of academic monographs on like websites like Goodreads or Amazon, and they say, well, this is like really, this isn't like a story at all, and sometimes it just can't be written that way. Although I think narrative history is really important. Okay, the next thing I'm going to talk about is this tool called Zotero, which is a way to organize a bibliography, and also you can store the articles and books if you have them in PDF on on your on the program itself, and it's free to use. It's also like really like nicely designed. Like it's like kind of like early 2000s software, but in a good way, I think. And so I'll open mine and show you what I'm talking about. So here's one of my collections. This is my Moogle folder, and let's go to. I'll just click on. Okay, here. Here we've got biography of Jahangir. So here's the introduction, and we're reading along, and we kind of want to highlight some things. So what we can do is, I like red, but you have a highlighter, and then what you can do is you go to notes, you have a little notepad, you can add to item notes, and then you can click there, and it adds it in, and then they have another, I like this one personally, but you can click on that, and and then if you go back to your notes, and let's say you're like further in the book, and you want to scroll up, what you do, show on page, and it'll take you right there. So it's a really useful tool. And if you have, so there's also go back to my web browser. So there's also a browser extension, which is this little icon here. And if you have a Chrome-based browser like I do, or just use Google Chrome itself, you can grab it. It can grab the bibliographic information off of certain websites for a book, and then take you to the place itself, or to plug it into Zotero, I should say. Okay, the next site I want to go over is this is Libgen. So Libgen is a site with a lot of PDFs of books. I just thought I'd go ahead and address this. So, I know people can be kind of concerned about like pirating certain books. And I would say that for a lot of these academic monographs, there's serious ethical issues in the academic publishing industry where the authors actually don't get royalties for these books most of the time. They're not like a book published by like Penguin or Hachette or something like that, where the author receives like a, I don't know, like a 5% or 7% royalty on sales. There's no royalties, or if they are, they're very, very small. But so if you don't want to use this site, that's totally understandable. But if you are open to it, and I know plenty of historians that use this all the time, especially like colleagues that are in countries with lower income overall, Europe, even in Europe and Turkey, that rely on this, and I think that's pretty useful. And I guess on this point, if you're just using these books for your own personal education, that falls under fair use of the content, I think. So anyway, that out of the way, but you can search and let's see. So we have a bunch of these different books. We'll just click on this one, and this one is really expensive. Let me let's see, search. It's published by De Gruyter. They're a pretty bad offender. Yeah, this is $150 just for the ebook. But you can just go on Libgen and upload and download it, and you can read it. This one actually looks pretty interesting. And they've got all kinds of different stuff on here. There's this one, but you can, but you can search for pretty much anything. And, they might have it. Sometimes they don't have so much, but, yeah, so can be useful. And the next site is Internet Archive. Now, this also has a lot of stuff on it. I'm just using the World War I thing as an example, but you can find all different kinds of books. And then this one there are some books that are public domain or free for because there's really no copyright holder, and then some books you have to log in to borrow. So like this one, you just make a free account and then you can read it for a couple hours or something. Um, the next, and then there's also a lot of primary documents on here about various things. So here we have this is a report, government report. Yeah, 1928, the Medical Department of the United States Army in the World War. So if that's something you're interested in, I think if they have this is from earlier, but I wonder if they have the issues of this. Just now that I think about it, yeah, I mean, look, you've got all these different got this is Civil War era, but you can just read all this stuff openly for free. It's all public domain. I wonder if they have the Great War period issues of the Army Navy Journal. Uh, I guess not, but anyway, you can search all kinds of different stuff, and you can find it on here on Internet Archive, and like there's books, there's articles, yeah, so really really useful, and especially obviously if you're doing more modern history, there's a lot of primary documents and books on here. So the next website, so this is the French National Library website. I use this periodically for manuscripts, but they have a lot of different stuff. Now, you have to read French, but I think you can do it. Now, if you can also get a translation extension. So there's Google Translate and then DeepL. I use both. DeepL is I think a little bit better, but so like we can just translate the page. Here we go. And then can look at let's just go to images. And now I'd have to run the translator again, but let's see. Yeah, we'll go to let's go to the Great War images. La bataille de la Somme. Yeah, why not? And I've actually never looked at this part of the website. Let's see if it'll load. But I think you guys get the idea. You can find all different types of stuff. I use the manuscript section of the website for my research all the time. And the images, and then the manuscripts are all different periods. You have books. Now, not everything is accessible online, but a lot is. So you just have to check. But like here we go. We've got all these pictures from the Great War. You can look at, and I think this is a pretty good viewer. I really like it. So yeah. The next site is WorldCat. So this is a World Library Catalog. You can go and search anything you want, and you can, and it'll tell you like what's the nearest library that has the book. And while I'm here, I'll also mention, so if you're in the U.S., I know if you live near a larger public research university or even a medium-sized public university, oftentimes they will allow you as a local resident to get a library card that you can't check out that many books, or you might, it kind of varies by institution, but usually they have some kind of visiting member card where you can you can check some books out, or request certain books from interlibrary loans. So if one library doesn't have the book, they can request it from another library, and that's 90% of the time it's free of charge. So that's also really useful, interlibrary loan. Okay, so the next website is JStore. So this is has a lot of different articles and stuff. The Now you usually need a university to access this stuff, but you can make, I think, a like a personal account, and I think they allow you to have access to certain things. Now, with these journal articles, if you search on JStore and you find something that you want to read and you can't access it, just look up the author, assuming they're still alive. But if they're, like a living scholar, active scholar, just search them on the internet, and you can probably find their affiliation or their contact somewhere, and just write them an email and ask for the article, and they'll usually send it to you most of the time, and they're usually just happy that someone reads it. Okay, the next website is this one. This is academia.edu. I'm not going to click because I want to show my information and stuff, but you can find a lot of these journal articles that the people have uploaded on here, and even whole books. You can sign up for an account, and if you pay for a premium, and there is a paid option, and I forget which features that the paid option unlocks, but you can just sign up for free and you can download things. I think the paid option gives you better search results. It expands the search results, so it's a little pricey, I have to say, but I think it's pretty worth it. At least it is for me. I can't go through every library repository, but now normally the British Library has a lot of great digital collections. Unfortunately, they were the victim of a cyber attack, and this has been going on for months now, since I think last year. Yeah, last October, and we're now, as of filming, it's May, so a lot of the digital collections are offline, but hopefully when they get it resolved, ideally, you can go on here and find all kinds of stuff that's been digitized, and have a lot of good stuff. And then there's many more repositories I could go over, but the last one I'll do is HathiTrust. This is kind of like Internet Archive, but certain things are off limits depending on your library access. So you have to, it depends what you want to open up or look at, but some things I think a lot is open to the public with no library account. Let me look at records of the American colonies. Just click on this. But I think you understand the idea. There's a lot of primary source stuff, and there's a lot of books you can read. So another great resource. So, okay. Well, this was kind of a crash course, so I hope you guys liked it. This is I hope you found this to be useful, and I will, and if you have any questions, just leave it in the comments, and I'm always happy to answer them. And if you if there's some other kind of repository, or maybe something else, I can do a follow-up video on other sites, or other avenues of research. But I think this is I hope this was helpful to at least get a kind of lay of the land, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.